Change, growth, progress. All are things we do in life, hoping that we end up better people than we started. Not me though. I started out as a baby. And babies are objectively weak. They cry, shit themselves, and require other people to survive. I'm not going back. I refuse. I would rather pass away peacefully in a 17-car pileup, burning up, covered in both coolant and flaming oil, feeling like a spicy mint, than become an old man. So let's face it, the only difference between the elderly and the recently born is that the ancient ones still have to pay taxes. And Uncle Sam needs his yummy tax money. 3D Space Cadet Pinball is the actual subject of this video. Wait, didn't you review this old-ass game already? Have you gotten dementia? Fun fact, did you know that dementia can start as early as 30 years old? Am I too late? Am I already eligible for Social Security? No, I am not. I am like an angry customer at that crackhead Walmart, wondering why I can't use that last coupon that expired 3 years ago, not fully understanding that they are the only one to blame. My last review of this game was terrible. Trash. Coincidentally, so am I when it comes to playing this game. So, after as much thought as went into making the last review, I decided that I needed to remake it. I guess change affects us all. 3D Space Cadet Pinball is a pinball computer game, a rather famous one. Windows XP was a loved operating system. Its startup sounds were, quite simply, perfect. It had beautiful desktop backgrounds that you could choose. Don't mind my funky horse mouse. It had Microsoft Paint. It had Internet Explorer, and not that shitty Microsoft Edge shit we have now. Edge is arguably a usable internet browser. Explorer? Not even close. Your web pages will take 20 minutes to load, and you will enjoy it. Explorer was optimized and based to waste as much time as possible. Throw that new shit in the garbage. Microsoft XP also came with wonderful classic games. No Microsoft Store required. The classics include Solitaire, Spider Solitaire, Free Cell, Microsoft Hearts, Minesweeper, and naturally, Pinball. 3D Space Cadet Pinball is a standalone version of a pack of 3 that came with the Full Tilt Pinball game, developed by Cinematronics and published by Maxis in 1995. The full game came with 2 other games, Skullduggery and Dragon's Keep, both of which I have never played. The standalone version was released on several versions of Windows, from Microsoft Plus 95 to Windows XP. With the 64 bits of newer versions of Windows coming out, the game would have collision bugs, which resulted in the game not being given with Vista and onwards. Though there is evidence of it being dropped, since its art style was considered outdated. Late in 2018, multiple attempts were made to revive the game. However, the license for releasing it strictly said it had to be included in the installation operating system, and its source code was forbidden from being released. That being said, this last October, the game was released on the Microsoft Store. For the sake of nostalgia, I downloaded this copy and attempted to play it. It was a goddamn atrocity. It didn't run too well. Maybe it's my computer's fault. Maybe it's mine. Maybe the game was just ported terribly. The Windows copy had a few differences from the Full Tilt version. One of the major ones was completing missions, and the full version granted you replays. Or in layman's terms, it gave you a save. You fuck up, the game remembers your heroic works and lets you keep going. If you hit activated wormholes repetitively, you can unlock a multi-ball round, which means you get a fat gamer score if you know what you're actually doing. The 3 yellow lights above the top bumpers and the bumpers in the upper table area also stay lit when the ball goes over them. In the Windows version, you only get bonus points for completing missions, and hitting those special wormholes only grant replays. Multi-ball is a forbidden art, since it's basically using necromancy to raise up all those dead balls from the other games. Also, those yellow lights, which are important for upgrading the bumpers for more points, they now deactivate in the Windows version if your ball goes over a lit light, making the Windows version the pro gamer version. It is more difficult. It is more primal. It is perfection. They also changed the image on the upper right side and made the company's name harder to read. What absolute bad lads. The game also comes with music that you can listen to as you play. Many who have played the game tend to love it, as it sparks a little happiness in them. The Windows copy does not come with it turned on by default, but you can turn it on. It has less tracks than the full tilt version, but it is still there. If I'm to be 100% honest, I don't like the music. I usually play with it turned off. Some people watch videos of the game and are shocked that it came with music, because we are small children that never thought to check. To play this game in its best form, we will need Windows XP. I recommend not installing it as your main operating system, as it's old, outdated, and more liable to be a danger to you than actually beneficial. It's also unable to play most of the games you want to play anyways. Do note, I am talking about the operating system, not just old people in general. I downloaded a virtual machine to run the operating system for me. It's really neat. It's kind of like having a computer in a computer. It's really easy to do, and there's many good guides online on how to do it. I will have one in the description below. Once you have this Windows installed and up and running, take a snapshot of it. The virtual machine is unable to authenticate your copy of Windows, and you probably don't own it anyways, so even if you do own a legitimate copy, it's still going to lock out after 30 days. While I own a copy of Windows XP, I guess I technically don't own this copy. With my last review, I had a couple of friends of mine DM me and threaten that they're going to snitch on me to Microsoft. They are no longer a problem. With this snapshot, we were able to loop that 30-day trial over and over again. I should probably note that in order to close the virtual machine once you connect your mouse to the Windows XP version, you will need to unplug your mouse and replug it back in, which will return it to your main operating system, and you can safely close the virtual machine. Gameplay. 3D Space Cadet Pinball is a complex pinball table. You start off as an eager Space Cadet, only having 3 balls at your disposal. You have no respect. You have no chances to survive in long, harsh space. In order to rank up and increase your renown, you will need to complete missions. The first few will be easy. Hit bumpers. Hit those little yellow tabs. Go over those upper yellow lights above the upper bumpers. Or go into the upper table, which I like to call the sock monster. I was a small child when I made this name, so don't judge. These missions must be completed in one block. If you fail in the middle of the mission, it doesn't count. As you complete missions, you will get experience points, which fill these outer blue lights. Once you fill them up, you rank up. The ranks go as follows: Cadet, Ensign, Lieutenant, Captain, LT Commander, Commander, Commodore, Admiral, and Fleet Admiral. As you rank up, these missions become more difficult, more complicated, and later ones require you to complete a series of tasks. After all, a higher level admiral doesn't need to do target practice. He needs to stop a plague. However, preventing a plague in space creates a time warp, which activates the Maelstrom, a giant whirlpool, which will suck your ball and fling you across space and time, which puts you back in time before you cure the plague. Forever drifting in space. Forever curing a plague that drags you back in time. Your life is empty, meaningless. Nothing you do matters because you will repeat it over and over again. There is only one exit. Death. The table has all sorts of fun things, like wormholes, which take your ball and throw it randomly out of a window. Sometimes the same one, sometimes another one. This right-hand track awards hyperspace bonuses, jackpots, center post goals, and finally, an extra ball. This track is your fuel tank. Over time it will deplete, which will cause you to fail the current mission. You can be refilled by going in the sock monster for extra gas, or having the ball go across the track. The yellow lights with the bumpers, you can rotate them by moving the flippers, ensure you can get them all lit up, and either upgrade your weapons or your engine, granting those bumpers more points and changing the color. You'll start off at blue, then go to green, yellow, and finally red. Over time, they will revert back to earlier levels, though. Controlling the flippers can be done with the Z and question mark keys, and you can actually tilt the table with the X and period keys. Skilled players are able to use the tilt buttons to avoid bullshit death balls, which fall perfectly down the middle. I, however, usually fat finger them. If you do that too many times, the game locks up, your ball falls down, and you score no more points. It is a wasted life. That's what you get for cheating. I never touch it otherwise. Fuck those keys. Honestly, I'm terrible at this game. I only play because I'm a nostalgia baby, and I like seeing things that come from a happier time. My highest score is only like 2.5 million. YouTubers like Retrospec do the game considerably more justice than I do, and I would recommend watching their gameplays of this treasured game. Despite the game's age, I would highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. Would play many times again. Now that I'm done playing, I guess this is it. Time to log off. Have a pleasant day, everyone, and see you all next time.